Welcome to Spoil Me Nisi. It's me Nisi here, and I hope that you're all doing very well. So today I would like to talk about Married at First Sight Season 13 Episode 2, which premiered last night. I have some thoughts on this. If you haven't already had the chance to see the episode, as always, this video is going to have some spoilers, so let's get into it. So, in typical Married at First Sight fashion, the episodes are going by so slow. I mean, last night's episode went by like extremely slow. Don't get me wrong. I like seeing the development of each person and, you know, seeing everything that leads up to a certain point. But I'm ready to get to the meat and potatoes of the season. You know, it all goes down in the honeymoon, so I'm getting a little bit impatient, but it is what it is. So we saw 3 couples get married so far. We saw Bal and Johnny, Mirla and Gil, and Michaela and Zach, but I'll get to their marriages in just a moment. We saw the beginning of the prep for Brett and Ryan's wedding. And you know, as I said in my previous video, they are not one of my as of right now, Brett and Ryan are 2 of my least favorite, only because I don't necessarily feel like they seem like they would go together. But my opinion has changed a lot so far about some of the other people on the show, so that could change. But Brett, she looked beautiful in her dress. You know, I personally believe that it's a no-brainer. Of course, Ryan's gonna like how she looks. I'm a little bit concerned about him being big on looks, but Brett is cute as a button, so I think that he'll like her a lot. Now that we're getting to know both Brett and Ryan, we see that Ryan has done a lot of getting around, Brett not so much. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but that's not necessarily a good thing either. So I am looking forward to seeing these 2 get married. We didn't see any of Rachel and Jose's process of getting married. We didn't see much of it, at least. So most likely next week we'll probably see Brett and Ryan get married and Rachel and Jose get married. And hopefully we at least see the beginning of the honeymoon next week. So I'm very hopeful for that. Now to the ones that we did see get married. Bal and Johnny, still so far one of my favorites. The interesting thing about these 2 being on the show is, from what I can remember from the whole series, I believe Bal and Johnny are the first Asian couple to come on the show. I think. And you know, they took us for a ride into their culture with like the tea and everything. So that was pretty informative to see how they do things. Bal seems to really come from a really good support system, which could be good for Johnny, because if they stay together and, you know, and their marriage works, her family is now his family and vice versa. And so I do like that she has a really good support system. It is a little bit concerning that he doesn't come from a good support system. On his side, it was really just his mom, and his dad didn't really support it. Well, of course, he can't control that, but that was a little bit sad to see in last night's episode. But as I said in my previous video, I'm so hopeful for Bal and Johnny. I think they're so cute. I love that they knew each other in college, and that they're a pair that nobody in their personal group ever saw coming. So it just kind of proves that sometimes your soulmate could be right in front of you and you just don't know it. Maybe they're in the friend zone, maybe they're just not in any zone, you just don't know. But I'm very hopeful for those 2. So to Mirla and Gil, I'm still very iffy about these 2. And I'm more so on the negative side of the iffiness that I feel for these 2. And I don't know, I feel like if these 2 work out, that would be like a miracle. Now, what I will say about Mirla is she looked beautiful, which I didn't expect her to look anything but that, because she seems like she has really good style and she's a pretty girl. And Gil looked very handsome. He seemed to be very pleased with what he saw when she walked down the aisle. And she seemed like she was pleased with the suit he was wearing. And, you know, I like that she showed positivity and said that she can accept his bald head. But that's a little bit tricky for me as well, because ultimately she does not like bald heads, and she even said it more in last night's episode. She really cannot stand them. So I feel like she was trying to just like save face during the wedding, but I feel like ultimately that's a feature of his that she might see as like a flaw in her eyes, because she really just does not like bald heads. One thing I can say about Mirla is that I like that she's already showing her true self to Gil. She's not hiding who she is from him. And, when they were getting married, a lot of, her friends made mention of her being materialistic. So at this point, he kind of has an idea of who is the woman behind the pretty face that he married on their wedding day. I did notice that his friends didn't seem very happy with her. When she made mention a few times about her red bottoms, and then her friends described her as being materialistic, you can see that like his family, made some faces, and they didn't seem too happy with certain things. And I personally think it's because them knowing what kind of person that Gil is. He's a little bit more humble. He seems more frugal, at least from what we've seen so far. Hearing that and then thinking about who their friend is, they're probably like, I don't know about these two. But I did notice that with them. So here's the thing with Mirla and Gil, at least from my opinion. I'm still trying to figure out what made the experts put Mirla and Gil together. Now, I know in my previous 2 videos about this, I did say that I feel like they only put them together because they're both Latino. And that's the only similarity that I can think of at this point that would make them put them together. They're both completely different. Gil is nothing of what she asked for. Like, literally, she doesn't like dogs. He has a dog. She doesn't like baldies. He has a baldy. He's frugal. She's not. She asked for a guy that would support her being an Instagram girl who's like materialistic and all this stuff. And they literally gave her someone that specifically said that he doesn't want someone that's like big on Instagram, spends a lot of money, and all that stuff. They literally gave both Mirla and Gil, they put them together, and they literally have no similarity so far from what we see in the show. Now, I am looking forward to see what comes of them from the honeymoon, because being that, I've been watching the show since the show started, one thing that I've noticed is that if people don't like each other when they get married, sometimes they'll grow to like each other in the honeymoon phase. That's why the first couple of months are like the most important. So I don't know. I'm hoping that these two work it out, because again, they really got married. So when you think of the biblical aspect of marriage, I hope all of them work it out. But I'm still not getting it why they put them together. I hate to believe that it's because they're Latino, but that's all I got at this point. And I could tell that like every season the show has a target. They have a person that they're gonna target in a negative light. Like last season, I get it, Chris was kind of like, he didn't handle himself very well last season, but now that certain details about like what happened behind the scenes of the show came out, Chris was wrong, but the show it seems like, at least from what he explains, it seems like the show kind of like screwed him over as well. It kind of seems to me like as if the show, even though people are getting married, they're looking for a shock value, and I'm starting to get the vibe that the shock value is Gil and Mirla, because Gil is this friendly, humble guy, and I feel like Mirla is going to end up looking like the materialistic jerk by the end of the season. So I hope it doesn't go that way, but so far from like how they're like showing how she is, and showing her from a certain light and then showing Gil from a certain light, that's how it's kind of coming off at this point, and that's like the buzz right now about the show from like the comments and everything. But I guess we'll see, God willing. So I saved the best for last. Michaela and Zach. Ooh, my words. I had to eat my words up. I knew that Michaela and Zach would be physically attracted to each other because he's gorgeous and she's beautiful. So I knew they would be physically attracted to each other. They both look beautiful when they got married, and they both look so happy with each other when she walked down the aisle. he looked absolutely smitten with her. Like, the chemistry between these two is like as if they knew each other forever. I think that I think the experts got these two right, and I was wrong. See, looking at Michaela's outgoing personality and then Zach's kind of introverted personality, I was like, I don't know. He may not, I was a little bit concerned about how that would flow. But I don't know. I mean, of course, I hope things don't change the negative direction on their honeymoon. I hope they get closer on their honeymoon and it works out. But from what I see so far, I'm only getting good vibes from them. And I wouldn't be surprised if after this show is over, Michaela is pregnant, because these two, their chemistry with each other was like out of this world. And you can even tell by their body language. Like, if you compare Michaela and Zach's body language, who I think so far is the best, even though Bal and Johnny are like one of my favorites. My two favorites are Michaela and Zach, but of Michaela and Zach and Bal and Johnny, Michaela and Zach are my favorite. So I can only compare them to who I think right now is the worst match, which is Michaela and Gil. So when you look at the body language in their wedding photos, Michaela and Zach, they seem close. It looks natural. It looks like they're close together. They both look happy. It doesn't look forced. It just looks like she is the missing piece of the puzzle in his life, and vice versa to him being the missing piece of the puzzle in her life. But then when you look at Mirla and Gil's picture, if you notice, she's like standing far away from him. The body language between all of them, it kind of looks as though Gil is open to the process. He likes her, like he's with it. And it almost looks like she wants to run away. At least that's the vibe that I'm getting from the picture. But you know what? Sometimes things aren't what they seem, but at least from what I see so far, you can 100% tell the difference even in chemistry between Zach and Michaela and Gil and Mirla. Even when Zach and Michaela were having their conversation after getting married, it's like they were friends. It's like, they were just like, it wasn't forced. They didn't have to like try to talk to each other. The words just flowed. I like it. I like it so much. I'm so hopeful. God bless them. I hope it works out. Because these two are really lovely, and especially after the clusterfunk that we witnessed last season between Chris and Paige, who was like the only like then you had Brianna and Vincent, but I'm talking about like the only like black guy and black woman that get married on the show. I'm very hopeful for Michaela and Zach. I'm hopeful for all the couples, but you know what I mean. I'm very hopeful for Michaela and Zach, and I hope that I'm wrong about Michaela and Gil. I hope that in the honeymoon they get that spark, but as of right now, I don't know. I'm not feeling it. But I guess, you know what? We'll see next episode, God willing, and we'll come back here and talk about it. So that's it for this video. If you have any comments, leave them. I love talking about it. Make sure if you haven't already done so that you subscribe to this channel. And until next time, peace and God bless you all in Jesus' name.